We're down for whatever you're clowning. All right. That is ready to rock. Let's see. Is it, though? Yes. Here we go. This show begins in 3, 2, 1.
It looks like a finger, but watch 'em flip. It's a secret weapon at your fingertip. Just point and fire. 6 finger sends an SOS missile to your friends. He stole my balloons!
The Morning Stream. Don't eat that. It's Pluto.
Hello and good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, January 5th, 2023, and this is the Morning Stream. I'm Scott Johnson, and that is Brian Ibbett. Hi, good morning.
Oh, hello, Scott.
I've been up most of the night.
Yeah, been
tired.
there, done that.
The hard part about it was I thought I'd just come home, because we got home by 1. It wasn't that bad. We got there at midnight. Her plane was on time.
Oh, that's good.
Picked up Carter, got her luggage, did her thing, got her home, and then talked for a bit. And then by 1 o'clock, we're like in bed, and I just could not knock off. I could not go to sleep. I was too wired up.
That's the worst. That is the worst.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So it was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that.
And you just sit there and you're watching the clock and you're like, come on, I just want to sleep. Come on,
It
just
isn't
let
even
me
a big
sleep.
deal. And I'm
Yeah.
trying different stuff, and nothing's working. And I'm not about to like play a game or read or watch anything, because that will make it worse for me. I just know myself. So I just laid there. Finally, about 6 o'clock, I pass out, or 5:30, whatever. Then I got to wake up at 7. And then, that's just my natural alarm. And now I'm up. And now what do? I can't do nothing. I'm just a tired young man, you know? Yeah, it's all right. I'll shake out during the day somehow. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. But it was fun. And, getting her was
I bet
great.
you're so glad to have her home.
I'm thrilled to have her home. She's, I like her a lot. She's a fun kid. And when she's not here, it's less fun. So,
Yeah.
no offense, Kim. But just not as fun as having, Carter. Her dog lost her mind, though, so we let him out when she got here.
Sure.
Lost her frickin' mind. She thought she had I think she was settled into this idea that previous person I was, completely hooked on is now gone. She doesn't exist anymore. And then, bam, there she is 2 months later. Lost her mind. Jumped all over. I thought she was going to end up on the counter at some point. She was just jumping so high and freaking out.
I love those videos of dogs getting reunited with their owners who are like overseas fighting for, like a soldier coming back or whatever, and the dog just goes absolutely nuts. I love that stuff.
Yeah, that happened kind of after her long tour of duty in Iceland.
Yeah.
Where she, is just doing the good work for the boys in the field or whatever. Anyway.
Listen, I know Carter wasn't, but you see videos like that all the time on TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, those are always great.
Those are what I'm talking about.
No, I know you mean. They're great.
Okay.
I do love them.
Okay.
And if it were me, she'd never leave the state again. But she's got some ideas. She wants to go to Japan next with her friend and do a similar thing. So that'd be cool.
Awesome.
But that'd be her second trip to Japan, so that'd be fun. Anyway, it's good to have her back, and everything's good, except I couldn't sleep. That was the only problem.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Hey, we have some updates. Yesterday, we were trying to figure out your thing.
Yeah, that somebody had mentioned in the discussion, right?
And I tried to find an example of it and had a really hard time doing it. So that's why I'm still a little confused. But Luke in Boulder, Colorado, wrote in.
Oh,
and he
just
says,
up the street from me.
Yeah, he's not far at all.
Yeah.
Luke says,
Hi, Luke.
regarding Brian's and the other that the other listener pointed out, I believe it's the that Brian often does during the pre-show.
Okay, yeah,
chatter.
like when you say, "Let's do a show." You ready to do a show? And I go, "Yeah."
Yeah,
like
I think
that
that's
kind
it.
Of thing? Okay.
I think that's it. And it's also that halting thing where you go, like that. Yeah. It says kind of a long yawn-like way. I noticed it as well, but figured it was some kind of inside joke and was sort of, and I was outside of it. Well, there's no joke there, but
no.
What's the rope?
I can say with 100% certainty and that is wholly created and invented by me, and it is not my doing an impersonation of someone else, like a robot or anything. That is a pure, for whatever the hell that's worth, that is a pure Ibbot creation.
Yeah,
right
nobody
there.
else wrote in to say, including the original writer. He didn't clarify. So I assume this is just a thing Brian does. You guys, that's all it is.
It's just a thing I do.
It's a verbal tick, says Rainbow Bright. Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know about a tick. Because it's like, it is, it is kind of John Lovitz. We were talking about that yesterday, the John Lovitz. Yeah. And it's kind of a little bit of, you dirty rat, like, that kind of 1920s gangster. Yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah,
But,
you want me to rub him out? It's like clamps on Futurama. It's like that a little bit.
I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things I didn't think about until now. Thank you very much for writing in. Thank you for that.
Now you'll notice it every time you do it. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was nice when you guys commented on me using absolutely all the time, and we even have audio, and I don't use that as much. But now, thanks. Now I'm going to be thinking about every time I say yeah.
Yeah.
I do a lot of yeah. Like I'll do that a lot with yeah. Like
yeah.
Like
I think
I'm a
I
big
do
Karen
that too.
O fan or something.
Yeah, I think the word yeah is maybe my most. I mean, I'm starting to notice it in myself. I think it might be the most used word I have.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure actually, but if I could count, like
Really?
somebody could count them. We got to get somebody out there who's got no time, all the time in the world is what I mean, on their hands, who wants to just count how many times we say yeah, and then we'll do like an average, and
I imagine there is an app that can take our show and transcribe it. And although it probably wouldn't do a great job of distinguishing our voices, we need the AI thing to kind of parse each of our different voices. But it would be great to see like a transcript of our show and see what word we use the most outside of like your basic, is, am, are, was, were, being, been, had, like all those. So
I have a future prediction based on something you just said that reminded me of it.
okay, all right.
I am 100% convinced of this. So I've heard enough really insanely high quality AI voice recreation.
Sure. Yep.
That there is going to come a time pretty quickly here where either for free or through a service, you're going to be able to go and just read a few paragraphs to a thing, and then it will have you down. It will have everything you would ever, however you would say anything, it will have you down, and you can feed it any text you want, and it would read back to you in a natural sounding, like you were on a mic saying it voice. And this will be this hot new, when you go to your grave, this is what you leave your kids or your family.
Oh God.
Is this like ability to
Son,
just
I
have
know
it say
I've
anything.
gone off to the great beyond, but I do have some fatherly advice for you.
Yep. I'll bet if this isn't already happening, I'd actually be surprised. Somebody somewhere is already cooking this up because I can just see it. So what'll happen is it'll be like, okay, gather around. Remember when Grandpa used to read the Night Before Christmas to everybody on Christmas Eve? Well, here we go. And they'll hit play, and that thing will just read it as if he's sitting there, disembodied, sitting there reading it.
Sure.
That's happening.
Yeah, it just has to know all the different phonics, right? And then inflections, and then it can say, okay, well, he always does an up at the end of this, and he always does this. I mean, didn't we have, again, the jankiest, oldest version of this, but I seem to remember a really janky early audio thing, kind of in the era of Talking Moose, if that tells you anything, where you could record different phonics and it would allow you to type a sentence and have it read it in your voice. It would sound like hot garbage, but as long as you said all the phonics in a monotone, all at the same level, then it could read that sentence, but it still would sound like, this is me reading a sentence.
Yeah. Yeah,
but not even with that. Then. Not even with that thing at the end. This is me reading a sentence.
Well, the stuff, I mean, machine learning is just that. It learns all that stuff you're talking about. So all you'd have to do is just have somebody sit there and talk, and it would train on it. And then, I mean, they already have done it with people. Yeah. So the question is whether or not that's a thing regular people like us would even want. Do we want that? Do we want our voice to be forever enshrined as a possible speaking thing that would be indiscernible from our real voice? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know either, and it sure makes me think I'd better hurry and finish recording this audiobook for for a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Before all he has to do is hit a button, and it's it does it all for me. Jeez.
Yeah, I know that exists now with what's this software I used the other day? It's kind of expensive, so I only use the free stuff. But Murph, it's called MURF.
Murph,
and it's let's see, I have an example I can actually play. Do I have one?
Okay.
No.
Short for Murphy. Upper Murphy.
Upper Murphy. Basically, I used it to put some texts in. Let's see. Will it even read it? No, it says I'm out of free time. That's a shame. Anyway, it gives you a list of like, I don't know, 100 different voices, cadences, accents, whatever, and it's impossible to tell it's a
not a real person saying those things. So you just type in a phrase and it'll say it as one of these voices in it.
Yeah, and you can tweak it. So like if you're like, well, I'm not quite getting the inflection I want, you can go in there and mold it and say, when he gets to this line, I really want to punctuate that or whatever, and then it will attempt to do that, and then you can save those changes, export to a file, whatever. It's crazy, this stuff. So it's happening, man. It's happening.
Somebody better be working on the what was that called? What was the test that Deckard performs on replicants to determine whether or not you come to a tortoise, it's on its back. Why aren't you flipping it over, Leon? Why aren't you flipping over the tortoise?
I love that stuff.
What's a tortoise?
Yeah. And the one, the 2049 thing was
Camp something, Vox Camp?
Void Camp?
Void Camp? Voight. That's right. Void Camp test.
Yeah. I love that.
Or comp. Yeah. Anyway, we need that because pretty soon we're not going to be able to discern whether or not the things we see online we are already there, right? We really can't be sure, 100% sure that the things we see and hear online are real or not.
Yeah, no kidding. The thing that Kayee says in 2049, I'm trying to remember what he says. He has to do a thing where he kind of resets his, let's see, what does it say? It says he has to do that emotional baseline thing. What does he say, you guys? You remember it? I can't remember what he said. I used to love hearing that. I guess I could go listen to it, but I really
Who is this? What is this?
The character Kayee from Blade Runner 2049, when they'd have to they bring him back and test him and make sure he's not like overloaded or whatever the deal was, or he hasn't gone rogue. I love that.
I saw last night on Hulu that they've got what's called the Blade Runner, the final cut, and then Blade Runner 2049 on there. You can watch them as a little double feature. I don't know which one is the final. Like, there have been so many different versions of Blade Runner.
I think that's the final one.
Do you have a version you prefer? Like
I've only ever I haven't seen whatever is called the final cut, but I've seen the director's whatever the one prior to that was.
The one that takes out the narration.
Yeah, that one I've seen.
And doesn't have Deckard and Sean Young driving off into the on their way to the Overlook Hotel to join Jack Torrance.
Yeah, that was a really weird.
Yeah, it was just like, all right, we need a happy ending. All right, let's show that he's not a replicant. They're both alive, and
yeah, that's a massive example of like studio interference. I hate that stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
But that the director's one was great. I'm sure the final cut's good. I wouldn't mind watching a double feature. That'd be all right.
That'd be all right.
And I love the Villeneuve movie, so I'm in.
Oh, of course.
Big fan. All right. So there's the thing. We got it taken care of. It's all good. Brian, say good. As often as you want. Who cares? Do whatever you want. You know? It's your show. Look, we're here together. You say what you want to say. If the word comes up in strange ways,
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna slowly try and work in affirmative. That's gonna be my new thing, because come on, what dumb robot AI would start making me say affirmative? And that's how you'll know it's me. Oh, yeah. Affirmative.
Yeah, we can call you Newt. Isn't that what she says?
Instead of for affirmative.
Yeah.
And then instead of saying, oh, yeah, I'll go, oh, affirmative.
Yeah, there you go. That will not be noticeable at all, that change. It'll
not
be great.
At all distracting to any of us.
Speaking of things that are distracting and hard to understand, got a voicemail I'd like to try to dissect.
I love the voicemails.
Yeah, and this is a weird one. So I'm going to play this. We're going to go to the audio tape. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell what's happening in this call. Maybe you can help us. Here it is.
Hey, Matt. Maybe. This is Will Fowler, and I was just trying to say, my dad had an upside or a thing that he observed that I didn't is that your picture of Hawkeye is kind of a little sinister, and I'm trying to make you be like, make something better, monkey.
So I think he's high or drunk or something. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't want to assume. I assume so, though.
Right.
I mean,
Yes. I hope it's not a medical issue. And
as best I can tell.
So,
that.
did you post with the Jeremy Renner stuff that's going on? Did you post a Hawkeye picture recently?
No, I think he may be referring to, the only thing I could think of is I have that Alan Alda Hawkeye in my store that I drew. Oh,
sure. Yeah.
And that looks sinister.
And he wants that Hawkeye to look less sinister because right now he looks a little.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is maybe
draw
this
something better, monkey.
This is somebody who maybe bought a print. Their dad pointed out that it looks sinister or something. There were two other voicemails, but they were incomprehensible. They were just
incoherent. Sure. Okay. All right. And it was same number, same guy.
Same exact number. I think it's the same dude, but the mic's half covered. You know, people with their chin on the mic and you can't hear it anymore and stuff like that. So I didn't get any additional information out of it, but he went on a roll there, and these all came in at like 3:00 in the morning. So
as they do.
So probably high. That's fine. You know, whoever you are, if you're hearing me now, I'd love to, hear from you again. I suppose maybe in the daytime, and we'll have a chat. We'll see what's going on. But I really don't know what he meant. I assume it's that drawing. If it is, I was gonna pull it up. And
that does make sense.
Yeah, right. That's probably it. It's just a picture of Hawkeye. I did 3 of them. I did one of Potter, Hawkeye, and BJ, and they're all just like portraits, kind of caricatures. And the Hawkeye one, you could say he looks sinister, but it's because Hawkeye always looked a little skeevy when he's drinking a martini. He's kind of going, "Hey, what are you doing, nurse whoever?"
He's got squinty eyes. I mean, he's totally a little like he's always up to something that Benjamin Franklin Pierce.
That's right. They didn't take. You can take the boy out of Maine, but you can't take the Maine out of the boy. Is how the old phrase goes.
Good old Crab Apple Cove.
That's right. All right, Brian. What else is going on? You got something?
Yeah, I've been printing some 3D stuff for other people, including our tea maven Gwen, and she's asked me to print some minis. So it's stuff like this, like little D&D style minis. Sure. This is an example of what can go wrong. Because look at that wing. That wing has gotten a little borked.
It looks like an AI drew it, kind of.
It kind of does, right? Yeah. Like, I cannot do hands. Yeah. Anyway, and that's all because of supports. This is done using automatic supports. And if you are a person who's a resin 3D printer, like me, it is about time you learned, like I am, to do your own supports and not do automatic supports. And here's the problem with that.
What is automatic? Well, first define that. What is automatic?
I'm going to define supports. So supports, when you 3D print something with resin, basically it is taking a metal plate, lowering it down to a micron's width of a UV light so that only one little thin layer of resin can be between the plate and the bottom of the tank, right? Okay. So it's like, give me just the thinnest layer. Then the UV light comes on, and then it cures the resin in that shape. Then the plate moves up, comes back down, another little micron of goo between now what's printed and the bottom of that and the bottom of the vat. Cures that, and then it just keeps on repeating that, going up and down and basically sandwiching a little thin layer of resin between each time, and then the UV cures it.
I didn't know it cured in real time like that as you did a layer. I had no idea.
Yeah,
I don't know what I pictured. I pictured something coming out of the goo like Harkonnen and Dune. Where he's
right. Oh yeah. No, not nearly that fast. Yeah. It's super slow, and it does it one little thin micron layer at a time. And each time, because it can't just go up a little bit, because that might not fill in all the spots with goo, it has to go all the way up, let those areas fill in underneath it, and then back down, and then do a little thing.
Right.
Now, because so if you look at this wing, and I'll describe it for our audio listeners, there's a chunk of wing like right there that, let's say this was printing just like this. So it's going, and really technically it prints just like this.
Oh, it's
right?
upside down. Okay.
Now there's this area right here, this chunk of wing that isn't attached to anything until you get up to the back of the character.
Right.
And because of that, you need a support to start from the base and connect to the very tip of that wing.
That makes sense.
And when you're dealing with somebody like a dude like this, who's got all these little cape and sword and stuff like that, there's a lot of different shapes that are going to come in contact before they connect to the piece itself. So you have to draw a little support under each one of those as you go up. And what I do is, in the software that I use, I basically replicate the printer trying to print it, and then as soon as I see a little island of something that's not going to get connected, I have to add a little support there, and then move up a little bit. Oh, there's a little shape that's not going to get added. So for like the last 45 minutes this morning, right before the show, I was working on some more of these minis for Gwen, and having to do that layer thing one by one by one by one. Now, Gwen pays me in tea, so I'm perfectly fine doing it for her, but it is way more difficult to prepare a file correctly for resin printing than it is for filament printing, because of the supports.
Watching a speed, or what do you call it, a time lapse video?
A time lapse, yeah. Is that the one that BioCal posted?
No, I just grabbed one. But
you found one.
Yeah,
but you can see those supports. They look like little ladders. Like
there's
little
tons
scaffolding.
of them. Yeah, some of them. If it's a solid piece, that's one thing. Like this lightsaber there, they didn't need it. But this one where they just showed a Pokemon. I don't know which Pokemon it was. They had to have a million spaghetti string,
little supports, and if you want to guarantee that it comes out, you can't trust the automatic supports, because it's gonna fail so many times. This Bruce Willis thing that I keep showing, and I think he just Yippee Kayee. This one I was able to print, so I printed it like this so that the supports are all up here, because if there's going to be any residue from the supports, I'd rather have them on the back of the head than on the face where somebody's going to be looking at it. By the way, this is transparent. I don't know if you can tell it, but
oh no, I couldn't tell. It just looked gray on camera. Oh, look at this. Oh,
it's a little transparent Bruce.
Bruce is in Avatar. It looks like
that's right,
all blue. That's cool.
So I'm using that Soraya resin that Bill Duran recommended. This stuff is the bomb.
Really?
Bill Duran, yeah.
Just better, more consistent?
Faster curing. So basically this in my old resin that I was using would probably take, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours to print this little head and all the other things. Printed in this fast resin with like 3 hours. Super
more expensive, I assume. It's like the high-end stuff.
Only a little bit. Like it's 40 something a bottle compared to the 35 a bottle that I was doing for the other stuff.
That's not bad.
And I've got some regular gray, so I've got the opaque gray stuff coming for that resin to try it out. But it's thebomb.com. So
very nice.
That's your little 3D minute right there.
Nice.
To talk about all the hell I'm going through right now learning how to do supports. But
supports matter. Turns out.
Yeah, supports matter.
It's a little surprising to me that more models don't come with the person who did the model thinking about the supports ahead of time. I mean, I guess that's true.
You know what?
Some.
It's good that you say that, because some do. Some designers actually will create supports. The Eastman, who does like this Magneto. Mm-hmm. This rad Magneto. Mm-hmm. I think he, on some of his models, actually includes the supports so that you don't need to think about it. He's already added them. Now, in most cases, they're a little heavy-handed with that stuff, so they'll do a lot of extra supports whether you need them or not. But again, way better to be heavy-handed with it, do more supports than less.
Are the supports, once you're done, let's say you've got 15 long skinny supports and you've now removed those, is that stuff reusable, or because it's cured you're done?
Once it's cured you're done.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's that stuff. There's with filament printing, there are people who are figuring out ways to make the filament scraps that you get melt down and then spooled back up into spools. But that stuff is so unreliable right now and expensive that it's way cheaper just to throw that stuff away and not try and reuse it.
Gotcha. Well, they should figure out a way to better do that just for the future. Because if we're going to be fabricating tons of stuff, that seems like a lot of waste because you do want these supports. You want to have all the excess, but kind of sucks to just toss it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you
go. There's your
3D printing minute with Brian.
Your 3D printing minute right there.
The new segment, hot off the presses. Well done. All right. We're going to get Amy up in it. All right.
Yeah.
It's time for Read This. Oh, whoops. I'm in the wrong group. Here we go. Now I'm in the right group. And if I could type, that'd be good. All right. There we go. All right. She's coming in. She's coming in hot. And her little theme is all ready to play. Where the hell is it? There it is. Yeah, you heard us right. It's time for Read This with Amy. She comes on the show and talks about books, cool books she's reading, and wants to recommend to fine people out there listening to the show. Amy, welcome back to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Good to have you back. How the heck are you?
It is good to be back. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Are you all healed up? No weirdness? No funky business?
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I would say I get
not
tired.
Peeing out of your hip or anything?
No, that'd be bad.
No.
Okay,
oh
good.
gosh, no, that would make
Side peeing.
a huge mess. I could just blame the dog, but you know, like
Always blame the dog. Sure.
Yeah. No, yeah, everything's going pretty good so far. You know, no real complaints. Chuck's also doing pretty well.
Good.
So yeah, we both have to kind of remember, because we both feel better, that we still need to, you know, not lift things.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, because we haven't been given the okay to do that. And
yeah, that's the drag about having yours done one right after the other, is that you don't have somebody, or maybe you do have somebody in this. I guess you have kids who can come and help and lift heavy things for you if you need them. So.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have, don't get on a trampoline. That was my experience when I got my appendix. When I had my appendix taken out, that was the worst possible thing I could have done, and it hurt like hell. So don't do that. I'm not sure. I'm sure you weren't planning on it, but I was 16 and stupid. You know, it's like,
oh yeah.
Hey, I feel great. Let's go jump. Oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna die, and then I didn't do that again. Anyway, things down in that zone of the human body weren't meant to have a lot of strain when they've been cut open and removed and changed and stuff. So I'm glad you're doing all right.
I would say in general, they're not really meant to be cut open, but in this case, I was grateful for it.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, and now you're ready for future augmentations, right? Like in the future, they'll say, "Hey, Red Fraggle Amy, we figured out a way to give you, I don't know, super hearing, but we have to put it where your uterus used to be, and there's a little computer in there, and you'll be all ready for it."
Yeah, there's definitely a vacancy there, so you know. I was going to say that's really the only residual thing that's still kind of left over is, you know, I mean, it left kind of a big hole.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, now my muscles in that area have to kind of figure out how to be again.
Yeah.
You know, like they're like, hey, there was stuff here before and now there's not. And so they have to kind of knit themselves back together in weird ways.
That's where you can keep your weed in there. If you're careful.
Yeah. Claire Gack asks, how big is a uterus? Well, typically it's about the size of your fist. Mine was bigger, which is why I had to have it removed.
Yeah, it's that big in its dormant form, right, though? But when there's a kid in there, it obviously things expand and get big.
It gets kid-sized is what it does. Yeah.
Right.
So you get out like that, and then it
I guess
again.
I'd never thought about it, but yeah, I guess it would have to be that small normally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. It shrinks up, and it shrinks up pretty quickly. Like those lady parts are very elastic, turns out. And, you know, so they can stretch and snap right back.
You guys have cool guts. I'll give you that. I'll give the women that. You have cool guts.
Cool guts.
Well, anyway.
It was unpleasant when I was pregnant with my son because he used to sit right up under my lungs and make it difficult to breathe.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah, I'd accidentally roll over on my back when I was asleep, and I would have nightmares that I was smoking because I physically was
Just
having
couldn't
trouble
breathe.
breathing, and so my brain would interpret that as, oh, you're smoking.
Oh, weird.
And I would
and not a
panic.
cigarette. You are just smoking.
Yeah, you're smoking hot.
Well, in my misguided youth, I smoked some cigarettes. And
did you inhale? No.
I did. That was always the dumbest thing about that news story to me. I would have had so much more respect for Clinton if he'd have just been like, yeah.
We all did it back then.
So did everyone else.
No, and then nobody should have been surprised when he was trying to say, well, it depends on what your definition of is.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, just say you had sex with the intern and knock it off, you weird old turd.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to some books. Let's read some books. What are you reading this week? What are you telling people to go out and get?
So today I have a little. You were right. I'm gonna do a little reading for you. This was mentioned at our last play date, and so I decided to go ahead and give it a go. And so the name of the book is P is for Pterodactyl.
Yes.
The worst alphabet book ever. All the letters that misbehave and make words nearly impossible to pronounce.
Nice. I love this.
I'm so glad you're doing this. This is great.
Yeah.
It's such a fun little book. So the first page is, did you know that there are some really wacky words that start with a silent letter? Most of the time you can just ignore that pesky first letter and sound out the rest of the word. But be careful. There are other words in this book that don't follow the rules. Look to the back of the book for help with some of the most mischievous words. So let's see. A is for aisle. The bread aisle has not been cleaned in eons, and 9 tiny beasts meet to have a feast.
Oh.
B is for delium. We doubt anyone knows what delium is, but it's the only word dumb enough to begin with a silent B.
That's great, because I was trying to think, all right, what's B gonna be, and I could not think of it. So delium. Wow. Okay. Jeez.
Yep. C is for czar. Shh. The fascinating czar is secretly part Czech. And it goes on like this, where it's not just the word that they pick. It's also the sentence that they write is just filled with those letters that you don't pronounce. My favorite thing in here that they do is when they can't find one, they will do this. So I'll skip forward to F. F is not for photo, phlegm, phooey, or phone.
That's great. That's great. I never thought of it in that direction, Like,
yeah.
I always think of it the other way. It's like, why is there a P there? And then but I don't think about it from the opposite. Right. That's great. I need this book.
Yeah.
Give me the name while you're still doing these. Give me what is it?
Yep, the name is P is for pterodactyl.
There it is. Almost the first search that came up. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's available on, the Kindle app and whatnot. So I'll go through and read a few more of these because some of these are really fun.
Sure.
G is for gnocchi. The gnome yells, "Waiter, there is a bright white gnat nibbling on my gnocchi."
Wow.
H is for air. The honest air admits that herbalism isn't his cup of tea. Now that one doesn't work if you're in the UK because they say herbalism. They say
herbalism. So does Randy, by the way.
As sure. Eddie Izzard would say, because there's a bleeping H in it.
Yeah.
And then I is not for eye. We asked the pirate if he has 2 eyes, and he said, "Aye." I mean, you see, it's so silly and fun.
I love the art. The art is great. It's just like kind of purposely crappy art. It's hard to explain, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like a lot of the stuff that my kids used to get when they used to go to religious school, back when they used to do Hebrew school on Sundays. And, when they were little kids and they'd have things that explain like, oh, on this day we eat challah and here's how you say the hamotzi and here, and it would have art just like this, it just looks like something that a kindergarten teacher would have on her wall.
I love it. It reminds me, for some reason, like Czar, the art on that reminds me of the Yellow Submarine stuff the Beatles used to do.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Max. Peter Max.
Peter Max, was that his name? Oh, I love that stuff.
So yeah.
Just so weird.
Exactly.
It almost doesn't work anywhere else. You have to have the exact right application for that art, or else you're screwed.
This one's great. M is for mnemonic, but now Mr. M can't remember why.
Oh, nice. Nice. This is great.
That's great.
I mean,
do you know who reads the Kindle version?
Oh, I don't. I haven't heard the audiobook version because I just figured, okay, I'll just read it myself.
Yeah, I just the audiobook, not the Kindle version, because Kindle could still mean the.
Right. Yeah, I have the Kindle version, which is what I'm scrolling through it on my iPad right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Amazon may have a sample. Let me see if I can play it. Do they? They don't. Maybe they don't have an audio version of this.
Oh, maybe not.
I don't see it.
I guess the intent with pre-K readers like this is that you're going to sit and read it with your kid.
And I think it's in this case, especially because of the silent letters, it's way better as a visual than as an audiobook. Because H is for air. Okay, great. But when you see, oh yeah, look at that, the weird H and sitting in the front of there that doesn't need to be there.
Right.
The
other fun thing, this also reminded me, there was a Bare Naked Ladies album that came out right at the exact right time for when my kids were small. It was fantastic. It was a kids album. It was called Snack Time. And it had all these really fun original kids songs on it. And one of them was an alphabet song like this. And it was so funny. It was like, they were just singing along, and then they got to like R, and he said, R is for radon. No, it isn't. Okay, yeah, I know. I couldn't think of one with R. Like, I mean, yeah.
I vaguely remember that. When was? It's like it says 2008.
That was post Stephen Page leaving, right?
Yes.
Oh wait,
being forcibly removed from the group.
He left in 2000. He left before 2008. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But they were. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's wow. All right.
I love this whole album, and like unironically, this is like you and Bluey, Scott. Like I could just listen to these songs. Like there doesn't have to be a little kid around. I love these songs. They're great.
Yeah, it's almost their mainstream stuff is almost like this. It's just a little less kid focused, but they're always kind of telling us fairy tales. That band,
Yeah, they're great, and I've seen them in concert a couple times. They're fun. But by the way, speaking of Bluey, thank you, because I was having just the worst day the other day, and it was just one of those days. It was nothing super specific, but it was just kind of everything I tried to do didn't quite go right. It was nothing to write home about that it was, super tragic or anything. It was just one of those little irritating days, and I was in a foul mood, and we sat down and we couldn't think of what to watch. And I said, you know what? All right, fine. We're going to watch Bluey. Yeah. And 7 minutes at a time, I had my bad mood. Yes, my bad mood
Your bad
cured.
Mood. Yeah, it's better than a bad nude. Look, I agree. Look, that show is good for whatever ails anybody, for real. Whether you got little kids or not, it doesn't matter. Sit down and watch some Bluey. It'll turn your day around for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, go. That's, I guess, the moral of today's segment is, go do little kid stuff. It'll make you feel better.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
Yeah, be a kid again is what we're saying. Excellent. Well, it's always good to hear from you. And again, that book is P is for Pterodactyl, the worst alphabet book ever. It is available hardcover for $12, about $6 on Kindle, and I don't think audiobook, but it's there and available free now. It makes sense because you don't sit down with your little kids to read
to listen to an audiobook. No. And if you really need an audiobook, just call Amy. She'll read it to you over the phone.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd be glad to do that.
Yeah, it's all good. Anything else you want to mention or promote or say?
Yes. So I have all of my stuff all set up for Vegas. Everything, hotel is booked, flight is booked.
Nice.
All of that is good. Are tickets up yet?
No.
Okay, good. No. All right. I was just making sure. I was like, wait, I don't have those yet.
Soon.
Sure.
I'd love to have that up there. So there's a couple factors we have to deal with, but most of it deals with like, what's the swag going to be? How much, all this sort of stuff. So Brian and I should have that figured out pretty quick.
Well, speaking of swag, so last year, I gave out peepers, along with the swag
and
bags.
The little knit. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Peepers,
well,
yeah.
the crocheted frogs were. I didn't. Obviously, I didn't. It's kind of a lot to make like.
Of course, yeah. No, we did it for producers
frogs,
as it should be. Yes.
And I made some extras and just kind of handed them out to people who were awesome to me in one way or another. But this year for Christmas, my mom gave me this. I have to send you a picture. It's like a little zipper case filled with all these little small skeins of different colored yarn. And now she's like, now you can make lots of frogs. And so I'm like, oh, Jesus. So, yeah, I don't think I can make that many of those type of frogs. But if anybody has any suggestions, anything they would like, any, small little amigurumi crocheted stuffed animal type of deal, let me know. Send me a message in Discord, and because I'm looking for suggestions. Because there is a ton of yarn in here, and it needs to be used.
It needs to go somewhere. Yeah.
Yes. Needs to make. I need to make stuff.
You could cut it. You could cut it in little 6-inch lengths and say these are pet yarns, and then just put one in every bag. How about that?
Yeah. Like, here's your pet strand of yarn.
That's right. Here's a chunk of yarn. Do with it what you will.
Yeah. Do whatever you want. Make your own weird 6-inch thing. Awesome. Amy, it's always good to talk to you. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next time.
You too. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
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 That reminds me of, I don't know why it reminds me of Dr. Ken, but it does when she does that. Why is that? Is that a community thing?
Know.
Did he go bye a bunch of times?
I don't know.
Don't know why either. Ken Leong. All right. That's that. Today we're shifting gears, doing something a little bit different. Wendy is not here. She is traveling about, doing some stuff with some friends. So we are going to have Bobby on today since we didn't have him on Tuesday. And get our science in a little late is all.
Yeah.
No big deal. Oh, not yet, though.
Oh, we're doing that before the...
Yeah, I don't know why I'm adding him now. Bobby, forget it. Ignore that. I don't know why I did that. Someone's very tired. It must be me.
Apparently, yes.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, but that'll be the Bobby time. But it's also brought to you by something. Brian, what did it... who paid for this moment?
This moment brought to you and paid for with the hard-earned cash by Coverville. Today celebrating the birthday of Kenny frickin' Loggins. Yeah, the Danger Zone himself is going to be featured as the subject of today's episode of Coverville. Of course, songs like Footloose, I'm Free, I'm All Right, and the aforementioned Danger Zone, as well as some other things, including a cover by Billy Bob Thornton. Singing about Winnie the Pooh. You never thought you'd hear that, did you?
Mm-hmm.
And a whole bunch more. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Mountain Time today. Twitch.tv/Coverville. Kenny freaking Loggins.
Oh, that's great. I love, I unironically love Kenny Loggins' music. I have no problem with any of it.
I think you do to a point. He's another one that kind of like got to an era where it was like, oh god, another one of these like torch song pap kind of thing.
Yeah, he's Neil Diamond. He goes Neil Diamond
route. Yeah,
Chicago.
It was those covers that were really hard for me to find. Things that weren't just another person doing a similar torch song cover, but things like I'm Free, great. Got a nice little metal cover of that one, and This Is It got a heavier cover of that one. This Is It. Anyway.
That song's all right. I kind of like that one.
Yeah.
But you're right. It gets weird toward the end.
He got into that light rock. He jumped in with both feet on that light rock thing.
Yeah. It's like Peter Cetera is their leader, and he just drags all these poor people to the thing.
Yes,
Real
right,
bummer.
exactly.
Anyway.
Michael McDonald, I'm going to lead you to the promised land of light rock. Follow me. Just walk back behind me.
Love that guy.
I'll take you to the bridge that I'm living under.
He's the most unique sounding stupid voice of that era. I love it.
It really is.
All right.
All right. Well, let's get
awesome.
to today's In the Middle. This is a band called Tiny Microphone. It's not really a band. It's a woman. Her real name is Christine Capua, and she lives at da-da-da-da-da. And here's her phone number. Just kidding. Christine Capua performs under the name Tiny Microphone, and it's very appropriate because she's got a tiny, sweet little voice. She originally started recording pop songs on a 4-track machine in her apartment in Chicago during the early 2000s, but she's moved to Portland, Oregon in 2018. She started writing, recording new songs, which turned into her second album, Other Cities, which is the brand new one that is going to be coming out this year in 2023. What are we, 2013?
2013.
2023.
Yep. Looking forward to that Avengers 2 coming out next year. It's going to be great.
Should be great. Anyway, here is the song Holiday, performed by Tiny Microphone.
All right. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Are you one of those special gifted people with ESP? Or is what happens to you just a coincidence? Now, find out for sure by calling this number and answering some simple questions with your touch-tone phone.
You're dying to get me hung, ain't you?
The Morning Stream. Go for the gut. He's soft there.
All right, we're back. Tell me who that was one more time.
That You're Dying to Get Me Hung, H. Just almost sounds like our caller from your voicemail earlier.
Yeah, it
hey,
does.
that who you heard there is Tiny Microphone. Her upcoming album called Other Cities comes out February 3rd, 2023, and features that single you heard right there, Holiday. Oh,
very nice. Do you think I should be annoyed that Carter spent all those 2 months, 60 freaking days in Iceland? She never saw Bjork once, not even one time.
Should you be annoyed or should she? I feel like she's the one who should be annoyed that
maybe. I don't think she cares about it the way I do, though. You know, like she went to the place
really?
she supposedly hangs out at all the time, but she never showed up. There were
should I be irritated that you've never seen Post Malone once walking around Salt Lake City?
That's a good point. I do want that to happen. I need to hang out at the Walmart because he goes and buys magic cards there. That's what I need to do.
So crazy.
It is crazy. That. He's always around here. He was on Howard Stern recently, and I guess he says he used to have a major drinking problem, but now he still drinks, but he's smart about it. I don't know what that means. Like, I know a lot of smart drinkers. I think you're one of them. You're somebody who...
Yeah, I try to be a smart drinker.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know what that means, but it's an interesting interview.
2 glasses of gin at once. That's a smart drinker.
That's right. And spending all your money on magic cards. That's the other smart part of that. All right, let's
if you're still doing that, maybe he really needs to just check in with his sponsor a little bit.
No kidding.
I'm spending all my money on magic cards. I think all right.
Got enough money to buy one of those Black Lotus cards that cost.
Let's go to a meeting. Oh yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I guarantee it. All right, let's take a look into the future that is now and science with this guy right here. Oh, it's things yesterday. Here it is.
Science.
It's Bobby Frankenberger, all the way from South Carolina, here to talk about some scientific knowledge. He's usually here on Tuesdays, but had some stuff with your flying and whatnot. You had that today, too. You're always busy up there flying, man. You're up there flying. Well, how's that going? Are you close to your, I don't know, whatever mega license you're getting or whatever the heck it is?
Mega license?
Yeah.
No, it's just a pilot's license.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it means that this segment is always up in the air.
That's I see.
Yeah.
What you did there.
I see. I like what you did.
That's pretty good. It's going well though. You're no big failures. No wiping out in the trees or anything. You're good.
No, nothing. No big failures. Last lesson I did, which was on Tuesday, was rough. I backslid a little bit. Like in my progress, it seemed to fall back a little bit, but that happens. You know, you guys. I'm sure you've had that experience before, where you're learning something skill based that requires a lot of practice and everything. You're doing well, and and you seem to be making improvement, and then you have setbacks, like in your progress, and then.
So was your like teacher guy or whoever it is? That's what you have, right? Like some guy that's with you.
A flight instructor, yeah.
Flight instructor, okay.
Teacher guy, flight teacher guy.
So what is he? How does he let you know that? Is he like, you slipped back a few notches in our program?
Oh,
today.
We're gonna crash. You're doing this wrong, Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the way it is he starts screaming and grabs the controls from me. No. No, he's actually really good, and he makes me like I'm the one who notices, and he is encouraging and lets me know, like, you're doing fine. The number of hours you've only been flying for X number of time. It's you're not expected to be great at this yet. Like all that kind of stuff. This is hard, reminding me that it's all very, very hard.
Seems like good teaching. That's good method. I like it. Yeah.
And he notices what's, we talk through the things that are troubling, but I'm usually the first one to out loud acknowledge, because it, right? You know as you're doing it that you're not doing well. It's not like one of these things that you get done and then you can somehow be tricked into thinking you did a good job when you did it. Like,
right.
Like when you land the plane, you can tell if you landed it well or not.
That's a good point. Yeah, the proof's in the pudding there once you land. Okay,
exactly.
Let me ask you this. So in Top Gun Maverick there, I watched that and I liked it a lot. Yeah, there was a moment, and I realize these aren't F-16s or newer that you're flying. There was a thing where a bird went into an engine and started smacking into the windshield thing and all that, and it's a thing that happens to planes and stuff, and I knew about that, but they had a term for it, and it was like
getting sullied.
Bird strike, was that what it was?
Yeah, it was a bird strike.
Are you trained in bird strikes and how to handle them?
No, that would be an engine failure if it happens. Well, that would be the worst case, right? An engine failure, and they do train you to deal with engine failures. But those bird strikes are not uncommon, but they're not really common. So, but it's just you lump it into all the other things you would do, because that's the result of a bird strike that's the worst case scenario of a bird strike, is like an engine failure. So.
Does it bother you, like it bothered me watching it, that we're putting the onus on the birds somehow, like it's their fault?
It's the bird's fault.
Yeah. That feels
wrong. The bird
wrong.
struck my plane.
Yeah, it's us. We're the ones up there doing stuff nature didn't intend.
Well, they call it an airplane strike, is what they call it.
Airplane
strike.
Airplane strike.
Took out Fred.
Oh, Wilbur. Yeah. Oh, he's dead. I assume his name is Wilbur. Anyway, well, that's fascinating stuff. What's going on in the science world? I've been paying attention mostly to CES and tech things this week, but I could use a little science.
It's a little slow and quiet and sciencey stuff, and I've been holding on to something that I planned to do right before Christmas, but of course I've been, for one reason or another, I haven't been on in a few weeks. But it was so here's the thing. I normally on the segment I don't try to be like a actually kind of guy, right?
But we appreciate that about you.
But
now,
don't speak too soon.
Reserve your kudos, Brian.
Right. But inside all like science lovers and science communicators, there's a little actually guy there who wants to get out, but I try to restrain that person. But as a Christmas gift, I decided to give myself a Christmas gift, which is there's a couple of things that you guys talk about and have talked about over the year that I wanted to clear up.
Oh,
Lord.
I wanted to say, let's either a thing that you're using a term you're using in the wrong way, or something you're not getting right about it. So we're gonna make this fun. I promise it's not just gonna be me shaking a finger at you.
Okay.
No. Start the finger wag, Bobby. We deserve it.
The first thing I wanted to go over, this will be a quick one, is you guys talk about the Mandela effect sometimes.
We do.
Oh,
right?
Sure. Yes.
And I just wanted to clear up. Oftentimes, when you talk about the Mandela effect, you just talk about it like you use it the same way you would say that you misremember something. The experience of consistently misremembering something is not the Mandela effect. That is just called bad memory.
All right.
Okay.
Shots fired.
So
okay. Continue.
Example? You got an example?
So that's where I failed. I don't have an example of when you guys did these things. This is just so I don't have the proof for you.
Yes, sir.
This is literally
needed.
Citations are not there. This is literally just me being a jerk today.
Okay.
Sure. No, that's all right. You're not, and I love this actually. So bring it on.
So the Mandela effect, it was a term coined by actually a paranormal pseudoscientist, in reference to an experience that according to this person claimed that many thousands of people. So and it gets the name because many thousands of people had allegedly misremembered that Nelson Mandela had died in prison in the 80s when actually he died in 2013.
Right.
Is it weird that I never once thought that? Everyone says, well, that's the origin of it. But I never once went, I thought he died. I knew he didn't. I'd followed it. I knew what was going on.
Just because it happens to some people doesn't mean it happens to everybody.
No, but they named it after.
Weird at all.
But they named it after this.
Well, it was just this one
because
guy.
It affected a small group of people, and you're just not in that small group of people.
Right. And so the idea of the Mandela effect is that it is a false memory, but it's a false memory that seems to affect a large population of people in the same way.
Right.
And to help you remember how that is specifically the effect, this might help you remember, which is that this guy who is a paranormal pseudoscientist guy, he thought that the existence of the Mandela effect, it was evidence for parallel realities. So meaning that somehow parallel realities are touching our reality and causing lots of people. So that's all nonsense, of course, but that might help you remember.
That's what to be. They had a whole episode on this, that John Wilson show on HBO, where the Mandela effect was the basis of them all meeting at a Best Western in Florida or something.
That's right, and those people did believe in this parallel world kind of thing.
You got to watch that, Bobby. It's so good.
What's the show that you just mentioned?
It's called
How To with John Wilson.
How To with John Wilson. That's it. I always forget the first part.
You've mentioned it before, and it is one that I want to watch.
It's wonderful in a million ways, but in particular, it's his self-effacing sort of affable way of walking into situations that are just kind of like, what the frick are people doing?
Right.
Like,
that sounds
you guys think we talk a lot about Parasite on the show and how I haven't watched it and all of that? Wait till you get to the Parasite moment in John Wilson. How To with John Wilson.
Oh, jeez.
What the frick?
There's part of me that thinks that scene is one of the reasons you haven't watched Parasite.
part of me thinks the same. Who knows what that part of me will eventually do? But it really stuck with me.
You know what part of that guy is.
Yeah. Anyway,
we know about the common Mandela effects that people know about, right? The
Berenstain Bears. That whole thing. The one that gets
Darth
me.
Vader saying, "Luke, I am your father."
Right.
Never said
Chick-fil-A having a hyphen or something, or not having a hyphen. I can't even remember what the real thing is.
Yeah, we do it all the time with movie quotes and stuff. That's a very common thing.
The one that really got me from this list, the list of common ones, is that because even after I read it, and even now, as I looked up the truth, saw that this is correct, I misremember this, I still can't imagine it any other way, which is the the rich Uncle Pennybags having a monocle. She does not have a monocle.
No.
Yeah.
Never did.
Mr. Peanut does.
Yes.
But
Mr. Peanut never overcharged you for rent or took your money and sent you to jail.
Right.
Hey, listen, I got second place in beauty contest. I have no problem with Rich Uncle Pennybags.
Yeah, he's fine.
Right.
He's fine.
Bank error was in my favor.
Exactly. Keep them bank errors happening.
Yeah.
Right.
It's when he told me I could no longer pass go. I felt like I was being repressed.
Yeah, that was a little much. We came to words after that one.
You need to go to jail, Scott. It's just the way it is.
So there's another one. There's of course
all right. So a
couple more.
So badly remembering crap. Bad memory does not equal Mandela effect. Okay,
right,
fine.
Right,
you got us there, and that's
it's okay to have bad memory.
Sure.
Just cop to it. Just own up to it.
Own up to your stupid bad memories is what you're saying.
Right.
All right.
Sure. The other one is so ASMR.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
You're not the only one who does this, so that's why it also ended up on the list. Was
sure.
I hear you doing it, Scott. Just acknowledging it.
All right. I won't eat anything though. But listen to this. Here's some ASMR for somebody. Here we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Like that?
I did not need any of that.
No. You know what Brian likes? The sounds of eating or drinking on shows. It's his favorite.
God.
Yeah.
Mukbang, any of that stuff just drives me bananas.
Hitting the bong. Chat room, no. That was a sip out of a can.
That's what
it did sound a little bit like that.
It kind of did, yeah.
Well, I'm glad. All right. So tell us about this and how we get this wrong all the time.
So ASMR, a lot of times when you evoke ASMR, and you're like I said, you're not the only one. A lot of people do this, and it irritates me. That's how it ended up on this list because I had to bring it up.
Sure.
Is ASMR isn't just some noise or thing that you think is relaxing.
Yeah.
All right. It's not just a really relaxing noise. It's an actual, probably neurological phenomenon. And it stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. And it's not well understood. So we have to say that. But it's sort of like, it's been described so similarly among people that experts and scientists believe that this is likely an actual neurological phenomenon that occurs, and what it's described as a sort of experience of a pleasurable. The physical sensation of it is a very characteristic part of it. It's not just the relaxing, because relaxation is certainly part of it. But there's also this pleasurable tingling sensation around in the back of the head, down the spine. Some people compare it to like an
going up kind of thing.
Yeah, some people compare it to like an electrical buzzing feeling in the back of their head, or like I said, on their spine.
Nicole gets this. I've never understood it, but she gets this when she has.
Yeah, and to be clear, sometimes when you hear ASMR streamers or something like that, it does sound relaxing, but I've never experienced this sensation before.
Yeah. Me neither.
But apparently a lot of people do.
So what you're saying is that we tend to, anytime we get close into the microphone, it just immediately is, hey, we're doing ASMR, basically.
Yeah.
Well, or what I know Scott I've heard say before is he'll say, "Oh, that's my ASMR," and referring to some experience,
other stimulus.
Right. I will say things. I know I've said this before. I'll say the guy, somebody's voice I really like or something. Like the guy. What was he in that I just saw that I really liked his voice? Oh, The Handmaid's Tale this year had this dude that turned out to be Kiefer Sutherland's half brother, and I didn't know that at the time. But this guy's got the coolest voice, and to hear him just talk, that sort of thing gets me a little bit. So I think in that case, I said, "Oh, that guy talking, that's my ASMR." I probably said those words. Mm-hmm. And what you're saying is that's just the incorrect use of the term.
Right, because again, it's this neurological sensation. Brainbro Bright just said in the chat room that they have that certain songs give them chills. That's not the same as ASMR either. That's actually a phenomenon known as frisson or frisson. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it's Frisson. And a lot of people think that ASMR is related to frisson. But it's that experience of when some sort of, it can be an emotional thing or certain types of sounds or certain tones of music or genres that will give you a like goosebumps or a tingling feeling in your on the
definitely happens.
I get that when I listen to Pull Some Frizzin' Blues every time, every single time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to. If you go to Frisson, someone's going to make them your bitch. Wait, what? Anyway, what I was going to say was
it was a good effort.
There's often like a nostalgia tied to that, right? Like at least for me it is. So like if I hear a song for the first time, I don't often have that experience. But if I hear something, this actually happened when I was like went down my Neil Diamond rabbit hole 2 weeks ago, and listened to Neil Diamond for 3 days straight. When I heard Forever in Blue Jeans, and I haven't heard it in like 30 years. That did that to me. I was like, oh yeah, dude. And I don't think if I had that connection, I would have felt that way. So I can see why that's not ASMR, because ASMR should work no matter when you're being presented with it.
Right. You would get that from the first time you heard that song, not just the nostalgia of hearing it again.
Right.
The list of things that are commonly known to trigger ASMR are really interesting too, and they also share something in common. So I'm going to go through a list of them. I want to see if you guys can tell me what they share in common. It's not immediately obvious, but you might get it. So here's a list: exposure to slow, accented, or unique speech patterns, viewing educational or instructive videos or lectures, experiencing a high
TED Talks.
Experiencing a high empathetic or sympathetic reaction to an event.
Okay.
Enjoying a piece of art or music. Yeah. Close personal attention from another person. Watching another person complete a task, often in a like diligent, attentive manner. and haircuts or other touch from another on head or back.
Oh, is that why I like those head thing, the wires that you put on your head and it slides down? It's like little balls on them.
They look like little spiders.
Oh, I love that, dude. Oh, that's my ASMR. See, I used it wrong again, but that's what I love. I love that.
Those things are pretty cool.
He just told you.
I know. I just heard this new information and I'm still using it wrong. But here's the thing though. Why? So for some it's very physical and some it can be auditory or it can be visual.
Yep.
I'm jealous of those who not jealous, but I kind of wish I could experience it because I don't know. Like tune into some YouTuber who's like breathing heavy on a microphone, and I'm like, who's this working for? And apparently, plenty of people. Yeah. Why am I wired so different, or why is anyone wired different? I guess I don't know.
Everybody's brains are different. So you did identify the first thing to notice is all those things are all different sensory experiences and very different experiences altogether.
Right.
But one thing that they share in common is that they all involve some of the same networks in the brain, in particular, the part that interacts with the environment and other people in a careful and thoughtful way.
Right.
And so
they call it low-grade euphoria sometimes. This is a thing I've heard. Is that true? Is that a fair statement, do you think?
That makes sense, for sure. And so they haven't done much research into it, but there are some MRI studies where they had people who were known to experience these ASMR, this phenomenon, and they would put them in an MRI and have them, show them things that would make them experience the ASMR phenomenon.
Oh my gosh, that must be hard in a MRI machine. Jeez.
It probably is. There's a lot of things in MRIs and fMRIs that are really hard to do, and some things you just can't because of the nature of.
You get in the tiny tube the whole time you're in there. I don't know if anyone else has been in an MRI machine, but it sucks. Sucks in there. Oh my gosh.
So they found that in all the people who said that they do experience ASMR phenomenon that they show activation in the medial prefrontal cortex, which is areas associated with self-awareness and social information processing. And
that explains something, because the definition or the initialism or acronym, however you prefer to say it, I think initialism is correct though, is autonomous sensory meridian response. The meridian refers to that.
The meridian.
If only Bobby would have said that at the beginning of this segment.
Did he?
Well, I didn't explain what all the words mean for sure, but meridian just refers to peak. I think that has to do with the area of the brain. I'm not 100% sure, because it might not, because meridian, like ASMR the term was coined before any of these MRI studies were done. So it's I'm not sure. The meridian might refer to the experience, like the sensation. So I'm not totally sure why that word is in there.
And it
was coined by someone on a forum somewhere.
The Wikipedia does not get into the meridian definition, but they use it a lot here. That's interesting. Okay.
But yeah, so that's ASMR. I would like to say I'm not telling you that you can't use these terms again. I just wanted to clear things up.
Good, because of the first thing, because of our bad memory, we probably will.
But also, I am one of the first people who will acknowledge that language is a cultural experience. Like, it's a cultural thing. So when the cultural meaning of something changes, you use it in a different way. So when you say ASMR in the way that you do, Scott, saying like, oh, that's my ASMR, people know what you mean.
Right. Yeah. I've conveyed the information I meant to convey. Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Sure. But it's still good to understand the stuff you're saying. I think that you can do both. I think we can have a fluid language exchange and also better understanding of the stuff we're saying. I think that's
if we do it 10% less, then your job will have not been in vain, Bobby.
Right. So the last one is not a word that you guys use wrong. It's something I wanted to clear up that comes up every once in a while, but most recently it came up in reference to mustard keeping you young.
Oh, okay. Hokum? Is that it?
Yeah, sounds like hokum to me, but you tell us.
It sounds like it, right?
Yeah.
And it has to do with antioxidants. Antioxidants come up not just with you guys, but everybody talks about antioxidants, right?
Sure.
So the mustard keeping you young thing, just to cut to the chase, and then we can get to the details. It is pure BS. So mustard doesn't keep you young. Mustard is tasty, and I encourage people to eat it. But
the only appropriate hot dog condiment.
I agree. Thank you.
Yes.
A hot dog without mustard is no hot dog.
That's right. Exactly.
Ooh, I agree with that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about.
You can put other things on there, and that's fine. But you better start with mustard.
Can I ask you about binaural beats or binaural audio? Do you know what I'm talking about? That whole thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So binaural audio exists, but the therapeutic claims have no.
That has been my question the whole time, because I can tell you this: I heard about it, what it claimed. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. There's no harm, no foul. Put your headphones on, listen to a little binaural audio, see what happens.
Yeah.
Some people claim it just chills them out, makes them relax, all that. Freaking stresses me the F out.
Really?
Yeah, here it is right here. Here's a 40 hertz binaural thing.
Okay.
And
if you're listening in mono, this will have no effect on you.
This will be nothing to you, yeah.
Here we go. You guys hear that?
I do.
Okay, that's supposedly... Oh, I just
pooped my pants.
It's maddening. Yeah, it's like a brown noise brown beat, brown
note.
Brown beat. I can't do it. I tried. I can't. It's horrendous. Some people love it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It does. It's calm. It feels calm and soothing to me. But I don't know. Am I getting stereo through Discord, or is it?
You should be stereo. Discord does stereo, doesn't do mono, so you should be getting stereo. But the here, let me pull this up. I feel like I'm being like pressed in, like I'm having.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of my oldest friends, he tried to sell me on binaural beats in college, and it was all with this. He had this like crazy headset, eyeglasses that you would wear with it, and all this kind of stuff. And he swore by it. He'd sit in a dark room, and he would be super chill and relaxed because of it. And I'm like you, Scott. It stresses me out.
Yeah.
I sit there and I'm like, it feels like I'm about to like explode out of my skin.
Yeah.
Like it's building up. Something's building up, and I just like want to go like. Rah!
Yeah. It's like it is. It feels like a prelude to panic is the sound.
Yeah,
that's exactly a really good way to put it.
Anxiety inducing. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's not even so much like.
I wonder if it's because you and I are both like have a history with anxiety.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I wonder how far away on the sound spectrum that is from the TNG ship sound. That.
Oh, I have that. You want to hear that? I got that.
Yeah.
Hold on. That I like.
I'd want to see the waveform comparison between the two, because the thing you played to me sounded not the same, not similar, but sounded on that same wavelength.
Well, here's engines. Let's see. Is this
not maybe use a different term than wavelength, but along the same lines as.
So this is TNG engines, and this I love.
Oh, you know what? No, that is more of a like a white noise, gray noise kind of thing. I guess it's like but there's like a hum of a.
There's the bridge.
Maybe that's it without the little computer.
See, that doesn't bother me at all.
Funny.
There's a beat.
It's funny
to that,
you say
or
white noise
bass.
or gray noise and
pink
stuff
noise
like that.
and stuff like
Pink,
that. Yeah.
Because those are designed in such a way and they're named the way that they are because of the way that the frequencies interact with each other and amplify or cancel each other out. I'm suddenly can't remember the technical terms for how that happens, but whenever the waves interact, they interact with each other and cancel each other out and all this kind of stuff, right? Lots of different noises together will do that. In fact, white noise is called white noise because it's an analogy to white light, where white light is all the frequencies of light. White noise is a bunch of frequencies of sound all
See, and I can't
together.
do white noise either. Like people sleep to white noise, can't do it. I have to have brown noise. Brown noise is like a deeper, more closer to that TNG engine, kind of a more bass kind of
right, because
thing.
some of the harsh frequencies are taken out.
Right.
And so
that seems consistent with the way this stuff makes me react.
But binaural beats are different, especially if you're listening to it in the proper way in stereo, because they're like very different frequencies in different ears, and all it's just weird.
It is really weird. How about, would this Star Trek sound make you sleep?
Command the Enterprise.
Would that make you?
I'm falling asleep right
That
now.
just made me poop my pants.
Digital Nimoy from the 80s. Pretty good stuff. Anyway.
But we were talking about antioxidants.
We were. Oh, that's right. How the hell did we do that? All right, antioxidants. Back to it.
So a real quick understanding of antioxidants and the opposite, oxidants. So antioxidants are what are called... so there are things in your body called free radicals or reactive oxygen species, and they're just chemicals that contain free radicals or extra hydrogen that's floating around. And the point to know about these chemicals in your body that are natural parts of your body are the free radicals are highly reactive. They will just react chemically with a lot of different things, including DNA and all this kind of stuff. And it's just our bodies have them all over. It's just a part of our body. So these reactive oxygen species are produced as a natural part of our metabolism. They're actually a major contributing factor to aging and disease, which is why you hear antioxidants so often associated with keeping you young and healthy. It's because it makes sense, right? If these free radicals contribute to aging and disease, wouldn't antioxidants, which are anti to the oxidants, wouldn't that be a good thing? Right? And on the surface, it seems like it would make sense. But the thing is, our bodies have evolved to deal with antioxidants all on their own. That's how we've, made it as far as we have. So there's a sort of, what do you call it? Like an equilibrium state in your body where it's dealing with antioxidants, or it's dealing with the oxidants with its own internally created antioxidants, all on its own. And on top of that, oxidants, just because they contribute to aging and disease and they react with lots of things, doesn't mean that they're all bad either. Right?
Right.
They have a purpose. They often are used. They're used in different chemical processes in the body. I don't remember what many of them are off the top of my head, but they do have a purpose. They're used for different things. And so you could argue that mega dosing on antioxidants could upset that balance that your body is trying to naturally maintain already. But likely that's not going to happen. What really happens is when you take antioxidants, your body just compensates, says, oh, okay, we've got more antioxidants than usual, then we don't, it undergoes its own processes to sort of maintain that homeostatic balance that your body does.
Right.
And so it's always going to try to keep a balance there. And so
when someone says, hey, our yogurt has antioxidant properties,
yeah,
great, freaking eat it or don't, right? Like,
okay.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Okay, that's about what I was thinking. Like across the board with things like this, when these kind of claims are made, I just kind of go, okay.
It's like probiotics, except for very specific cases. Probiotics aren't. They sound good, but they're probably not doing anything because your body has its own way of handling those types of things, and so
yeah, there are circumstances for that, like
like if you have surgery or something like that, especially or in cases of very extreme diarrhea, then probiotics have some clinical evidence of helping with that.
I love how you giggled
get on
immediately.
that Activia.
Yeah.
Start listening to Jamie Lee Curtis and get that the poop yogurt going.
That's right. Yeah. Get that poop yogurt going. But being able to, if you're eating the right foods that contribute to good gut health is one thing, and then there are people that end up with like C. diff or some horrible infections or things. Right. And the only way they can recover from it is some pretty hardcore probiotics. I mean, we're not saying those. So just keep your emails to a minimum, people. We're not saying that.
Yeah, there's extreme examples of all of these.
Right.
Things.
There are applications. But if you're just like doing fine, but you think, I'm going to live an extra 20 years because I take one of these every day, you're probably not.
Yeah, and the important thing is the extreme cases where they are good are things that your doctor is going to be involved with, not things that the benefits aren't so widespread that Jamie Lee Curtis needs to tell you about them.
You mean, and it's not the kid at Sprouts at the counter that sells all the frou-frou? That person, I shouldn't trust them? Is that what you're saying?
Don't trust them. Yeah.
Okay.
No, things like kombucha do taste good. And so I'm not saying stop eating any
Some
of
that kombucha will get you a little tipsy if you get the right one. They got some kombucha with some high alcohol content. So good luck on that. That's out there.
But in general, antioxidants are just like there's a reason that your antioxidants, when they're being pushed, they always come in the form, like when someone wants you to buy antioxidants, they always come in the form of like exotic, expensive fruits, right?
Sure.
It's because it's a marketing ploy, and it was thought up in the 80s and 90s back when the research wasn't great for how, like, we were just learning about oxidative chemicals in the body, and then people were like, oh, well, naturally we must want antioxidants then. And then as the research has matured, we realized, oh, it's not, maybe that doesn't matter. It's not hurting, but
yeah.
You know.
Well, there you have it. We've busted some myths today. That's what you've done.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. So I don't like I said, I don't like to do that all the time. So that's my one this year.
No, I'm glad we kind of start off the year right with a nice fresh explanation or corrections or just clarification of things.
Yeah, I'm going to call you the Jamie Heineman of TMS. You've busted some myths.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that reputation.
You do have the facial hair for it. Actually, in looking at so many Kenny Loggins albums over the last few days and preparing for this show, he does have the nicely trimmed, sculpted beard like our friend here, Bobby. So
do you remember when my hair was growing out and it was maybe like ear length and it was big? I was constantly being told that I look exactly like a
Kenny
young
Loggins.
A young
Jesus,
George Lucas.
Oh, George. Oh, yeah,
really?
I can see that.
Oh, interesting.
I can see that. Totally could see that. Hey, here's a question for you, just to finish things out with the whole pilot thing. We'll give you a little sandwich, a little bun on the bottom of this burger, this tech burger, or the science burger.
Right.
Do you think there'll ever come a time where your flight instructor goes, Bobby, your hair is gonna get caught in the fuselage or something? Like is there some hair safety issues or anything?
Yeah, when we open the window and I have my goggles and
climb out on the wing to adjust the ailerons or something. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it get all gummed up in something or whatever. I don't know.
My hair gets caught in the propeller.
Sure. I'm just saying, be careful. You never know, man. OSHA's not there to save you. Oh my gosh, I thought Brian put a picture of Jesus in the chat, and it's a picture of Kenny Loggins.
That is Kenny Loggins.
Oh my Lord. Here, chat. Look at this. He's here to save you. All right, just believe in him, and he's yours to save you.
Yes.
Wow.
All
right, Bobby, it's always a pleasure. Tell people where they can get more of you and your cool podcast.
I do a podcast every week called All Around Science, and we talk about science, like the name suggests. Me and my co-host Maura, and this one that just came out on Monday, we started. It's going to be a 2-part series, but the first part was on dark matter.
Dark matter. Whoa.
What is dark matter, and what do we know about it? And
why is Spock so afraid of it?
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Or that was red matter, right? Red matter.
That was red. Was that red
Did
matter?
They call that red
antimatter?
Matter?
I mean, it was red, but was it?
I thought they called it
importantly,
red matter.
dark matter is not antimatter. We talk about that on the show.
Oh, good.
And why that is, and why that's important, and a lot of what we don't know about it, and stuff like that. And then next week, the second part is we're going to talk about dark energy.
Oh, here it is. Red matter was used by Ambassador Spock in 2387 to create a black hole to absorb the energy of the supernova of the Romulan
done,
sun.
Scott. Nicely done.
And it destroyed Vulcan in the process, didn't it? Or some shit? What happened?
That's all actual factual science.
I know. I know, right? 2387. Damn. All right. Bobby, always a pleasure. Have a fantastic week and weekend. And we'll see you next time.
Happy New Year to you all.
Yeah, you too, man.
You too.
May 2023 bring you longer hair and an official pilot's license. Bye now. All right. We did it. Is that canon though? That's that new time, the Kelvin timeline.
It's the Kelvin timeline, yeah.
Right.
So it's canon, sure.
I still watched, I watched the final one yesterday.
Oh yeah, the Strange New Worlds finale.
I didn't do the TOS
Did you watch the
one.
other one before it?
Not yet. So I'm going to do that after.
Okay.
On the face of it, and I don't know every little jot and tittle of every single Trek thing ever, but on the face of it, it didn't bother me at all. So I do need to watch this TOS thing to try to suss out what the problem is, because I don't get why there was a problem with that episode. I thought it was actually really good, and if it's time travel, I get that. Like, I thought of you a couple of times, but they actually adhere to your time travel thing, which is,
do they really?
It branches out into its own line, and there's no going back with this exception that you can take, but it doesn't change the timeline you changed. Yeah, it just changes another timeline, or a new one branches out basically, and that all was fine. I don't know what people's problem was with that episode, so I tried to figure it out on Reddit. There's a whole lot of conversation.
Yeah, because they do it right, because they can't travel back to their original timeline. That's my caveat for time travel. It's not that the branching timelines, I 100% know that as soon as you change something in the past, it does create a new timeline.
Right.
It's, you can't travel back to your original timeline. Once you create that branch, you can only travel back and forth on that branch that you've created.
Right,
you won't get to experience the changes in your original timeline.
But I kind of sat through that whole episode trying to figure out what was wrong with it. I didn't find anything wrong with it. It seemed fine.
I watched a movie last night that I'm not going to use for recommendals, but you would think that a movie that deals with time travel and music and music causing the time travel would be right up my alley. And actually you would be right. I really did enjoy the film. I don't know if I enjoyed it enough to recommendal it, but I'm going to do it right here because I've got so much stuff stacked up for recommendals.
Sure.
But a movie called Press Play that's on Hulu. It's about a woman who finds a mixtape that left over from her dead boyfriend, and when she plays it, she can time travel back to the moment that they heard that song together for the first time. So weird. All of the songs that he put together on this mixtape for her, she can travel back and be with him again and try and direct him to not do the thing that killed him. And it's got Danny Glover.
I just noticed Danny Glover's in this.
Danny Glover's
Matt Walsh. I love Matt Walsh. What's he doing in here? He's great.
Yeah. He's great. Never not good.
I love him.
Matt Walsh. Yeah. But it was good. It was really cute. I think it's by The Fault in Our Stars, either writer or director or something.
I was gonna say that has that vibe, doesn't it? The look of it.
It kind of does.
The look of the cover, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, but they do a couple things with the time travel that I'm like, yep, all right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good use of the time travel. Anyway.
Oh, this is crazy. So the director of this was on Fault of Our Stars, but he was a visual effects director.
Oh, really? Is that all? That's the only connection?
Yeah.
Because the trailer mentions such and such from Fault of Our Stars, so it's just the visual.
Yeah, he did visual effects, whatever that would even be in that movie. I don't even know what that is.
That's crazy. Why would you promote that?
Yeah, no kidding.
That's funny. There are some great visual effects, but geez.
Is this something Kim would like? It seems romantic-y.
Oh, she would like it. And I think, to some degree, if you're drawing or doing something while you're in the room while Kim's watching, Kim would love it. Tina really liked it.
Okay.
If you're in the room while Kim's watching it, you'll probably get a kick out of it, but you don't need to devote 100% attention to it.
Well, she's an interesting litmus test, because right after we finished Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, she's like, maybe I'll just, until we're waiting for that season, I'll just finally watch Discovery. And I had already seen it, so I said, yeah, that's fine. So I sat and kind of played my Steam Deck while she watched the first couple episodes. She got 2 or 3, and she turns to me and she goes, you know what the problem with this show is? And I said, what? And she goes, you can't have a Star Trek show where the captain sucks.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
It's a mistake. And I agree with her. I think the biggest fault of Discovery, because I think Discovery has amazing moments, and it has one of my favorite Star Trek characters ever in what's his name? The tall guy.
Saru. Not Saru. What's the guy?
Saru, is it?
Is it a Saru? Okay, yeah.
Saru. I love that character.
Jones. Yeah.
He is one of the most cool characters. I mean, it is the most Star Trek-ass character. I love him. But there's a lot of problems, and the biggest chief problem, especially in the early goings of it, were the captain needs to be, in Star Trek, the captain needs to be optimistic,
reliable,
needs to be reliable, benevolent.
Yeah. Not necessarily infallible, but also open-minded.
right, and always aiming for the right thing, even if they fail. This sort of thing. Yeah. He has to be a reliable narrator, and if you don't have that, that's a problem in that world. And I think that they. I think that's a problem. And I think Strange New Worlds obviously fixes that.
You don't want to believe that there's a vetting problem in Starfleet, that they're just not able to suss out the psychological profile of a shitty captain.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially Borka or Yorka. Horka? What's his name? Gorka? Whatever it is.
Majorca?
The one played by the guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just an ass. And it's like, you can't have a captain be an ass in Star Trek. And they fix that with Pike. Pikeism is exactly what you want.
Pike's great. Archer,
100%.
Great captain.
Great. All the you know what? Even Sisko, Picard, they got all that. Kirk, they're flawed, but they're great men. They're great women. Janeway, same thing.
Leave the shitty captains to the Expanse and to
yes,
a little bit of Battlestar Galactica at times. Not Adama.
No,
he was great.
Not the Admiral. But other people exactly.
Other ship that,
there's room for that kind of storytelling. I don't have a problem with it. It's just this is Star Trek. It is about that optimistic humans exploring the universe and bringing with it the best that we can bring with it. That's what it is. So you can have all your conflicts and stuff. Brave New World. Strange New World's got that right. Discovery screwed up early on, and it bums me out. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So she's going to still watch it. Because she's in the mood for Star Trek right now. So I told her. It does get better. That show got better in season 2, I thought.
It did. It's had its up and down seasons. It just, when it gets a little too heady and too full of itself, that it just gets a little too preachy and drawn out. And
and she's just like, it's so negative sometimes. I said, I know, that's the problem. That's the problem. That's gonna do it for the show, but we do have a couple of quick things. I got some shows coming up. Coverville this afternoon, 1:30 is it, or
1 p.m. Mountain Time, twitch.tv.
Why do I still say 1:30 all the time?
Should I just change it? Would that be easier for you, Scott?
No, I just don't. Why did you used to do it then, or am I made that up this whole time?
I'm trying to remember. I don't ever. I might have been. Listen, I've been doing this damn show for 14 years.
It just seems like we used to announce it that way, and I don't know why it's stuck in my damn stupid head. But
there might have been a 30 in there at one point. But, no.
Well, anyway, do that. Get your music on today, and then later we got Core tonight at 5 p.m. This will be our first show of the year, and we're giving away that big monster Doghouse Systems rig tonight.
Tonight's the night. Woo!
Yep, tonight's the night. We got thousands of entries, so sorry about the odds, but one of you.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
One of you are going to win.
Never tell me the odds, Scott, but no, seriously, because then that way I feel like, well, if by some stroke of luck I win, you can easily go, somebody I've never met named Ryan Schmibbit just won. Congratulations.
Yeah, he's from Longmire, not Colorado. Has won. Sure. Anyway, guess the connection tomorrow at 2. So that's another fun thing you can do. Do that right before
win a
Couch
prize.
Party.
Win some fun stuff. I think I'm giving away a Wakanda Forever hat, baseball cap.
Nice. That'll be great. Couch Party at 3. I think we're going to continue Doom Patrol.
Cool.
Because I want to do that. And Film Sack this weekend. We are doing Moonfall, finally. When I say finally, the movie's not even a full year old. It's like
no, finally doing. We've been
9 months old.
Since I saw that original trailer, since any of us saw it, we're like, Film Sack.
Yeah, we have to do it. It's an Emmerich movie. Those don't get skipped. We do those. Right. So anyway, and this weekend that's happening. Of course, Skim today as well. Kim and I will be sitting down for a Skim episode. I think that's everything. We'll take us out with an email from Michael in Colorado Springs. He sent an email to themorningstream@gmail.com. It says, hello, Stoja and Bowman. I don't know what that is, but we'll figure it out.
I don't either. Ooh.
I was provided this address as a place to register a complaint. Here is my complaint. I am not completely cranky old man. I'll give you 15 minutes, which is extremely generous, to celebrate.
You want to know where you get those names?
What's that from?
Those are IKEA products.
Oh.
Love it.
Okay.
All right, sorry. Continue.
What a funny reference. That's great.
Callback. Yeah.
It says, I'll give you 15 minutes, which is extremely generous, to generate and blow off your fireworks at midnight on January 1st. If you're still shooting fireworks at 12:30 a.m., you are being an inconsiderate dick. Try thinking of someone other than yourself now and then, and my dogs would greatly appreciate it. Thanks. I just had to get that off my chest. Joe uncool in the tadpole, Michael in Colorado Springs. He's not saying we're doing that. He's saying he just wanted a place to be able to vent this. And you know what? We agree 1,000% with you, dude.
Yes, exactly. Get your illegal fireworks out in a safe place, not near any brush or dry grass or anything like that. But yeah, come on now.
Yeah, don't do it at midnight.
15 minutes is enough.
It's plenty. And look, I got lucky. I have 2 dogs that don't care about fireworks, but I know people have dogs with terrible reactions to them, and I feel bad for them. Daisy was that way, right? Yeah.
Daisy was until she went deaf. That was kind of like the blessing, the bittersweet blessing of her going deaf was that thunder and fireworks didn't faze her at all anymore. So.
Is that how you knew? When did you know she was going deaf? Was it just she wouldn't answer her name, or
she wouldn't answer? Like she would even just noises wouldn't have any effect. So like if Tina dropped something on the floor, notice I say Tina dropped it, not me.
No,
if she dropped something on the floor, Daisy wouldn't like immediately turn to look or things like that.
Interesting.
It was I'm sure it was a slower process than we realized, because it wasn't just boom, she's deaf. Although we do think she had a stroke at one point.
Oh, yeah. I don't like to hear that. That's sad.
Might have actually had a little bit of that.
Yeah, I imagine so. Well, thank you very much, Michael in Colorado Springs. If you'd like to send your emails in to us, you can. That email address, once again, is themorningstream@gmail.com. Keep those texts flowing as well, 801-471-0462. And join us on Patreon, patreon.com/TMS. If you've not yet done it, please hop in there. We haven't had a new guy in a couple of days. I would love to say your name and to reach out and tell you how much we appreciate your support. Thanks to everybody who already does. You guys are amazing. That's patreon.com/TMS. We're going to get out of here now. Brian has to play a song to make that happen. What do you have today to play?
I do, and I will. This one's going out to Barbara. The date of my birthday, January 6th, has been sullied by the events in the Capitol 2 years ago. This year, I'd love to hear a song about celebrations or moving forward, forgetting the past. Something upbeat, maybe in the style of bluegrass. Since my birthday falls on a Friday this year, whenever you can get to it will be perfect. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you.
You should say birthday, eh? Hold on a second.
Let's
you
hear
go.
it.
Let's party.
There you go. Happy birthday.
It gets shorter and shorter every time I hear it. Let's get to this one. This one, maybe not necessarily about a party or a celebration, but it makes me smile every single time I hear it. The harmonies are tight, and we love each and every one of these people that you're about to hear in this song. This is a cover of the Steve Young song that the Eagles took and popularized. It is Paul and Storm and Jonathan Colton and Sarah Watkins all joining together to just crank out some incredible harmonies. It's a cover of Seven Bridges Road, a little bit of bluegrassy guitar in there for you, Barbara. Hope you enjoy it. And this coincides with another request that came in, I think while we were out with Scott's COVID or whenever it was that we never got to.
Oh,
so
okay.
Paul and Storm, Jonathan Colton, Sarah Watkins, come on. That's like a perfect storm right there of musical acumen. Here is Seven Bridges Road.
Very nice. We'll play it. And not to be confused, by the way, with the original. It's not Steve Young, NFL great Steve Young.
It is
Steve
not
Young.
NFL great Steve Young.
Okay,
no.
Fantastic. Just looking for a cheap Utah connection there. There you go, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. No, sorry. Yeah, tomorrow with the Playdate.
We will be back tomorrow for patrons only.
Couch party.
Better jump on the patron wagon.
That's right.
Wagon.
Still time. If you get in now, you're in. So hop in.
Yeah.
And otherwise, we'll see the rest of you on Monday. Have a good weekend. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.
He's a loon.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. No doubt.
I don't think anyone's questioning whether he's a loon.
He's a loon.